to rewind, I started as a personal trainer 10 years ago in a budget gym in Bracknell. And like, this was very early on with social media. Facebook was just kind of popping off. And I just looked around and I was like, the fitness industry is full of fucking plebs. And there was this realization to me that the majority of people in the fitness industry are only in there because of the way they look. They don't look the way they do because of what they preach. They preach because of the way they look. Everyone's got one mate that just is born in good shape. Everyone's like, you should be a personal trainer. Like, why? Because you look like one. So I came to realize that people didn't really know what they were on about. People are just kind of stupid. And the only way for me to like express this was on social media. And I tried being like, oh, this is how many reps you should do. Nothing. Oh, try doing this. Nothing. Then I was like, this guy's a fucking bellend because of this. Views. So then I was getting rewarded for kind of like...
For hating.
Yeah, just letting it out. And then I did that for a few years.
Yeah.
And kind of like...
A professional hater. That's impressive.
But then if you can bring in like a twist of education at the same time... Yeah. You can get away with
this. This is bad because...
Yeah. Or like, it was just like a bit of an echo chamber before. Like, so yeah, did that. Then I built a coaching business where just provide people programs. Because everyone at the moment seems to think, oh yeah, this is the best undulating periodized. Shut up, mate. 4x8 back squats. It's not worth €1,000 for 12 weeks. You know, everyone's out there like, oh my God. Let me tell you this. Near about all workouts are the same. Like a bro split versus a push-pull legs, you just move stuff around on different days. As long as people get it done, it doesn't matter. Most diets all work the same way. You just get people to eat less. So I've always liked, as people try to make it more complex, I just tried to make it more simple, and people did well with the results from that. Now I have a bit of a side hustle where I was saying that personal trainers, no offense to PTs, are plebs, they're also the same. They're like, even in 2024, taking pictures of their lunch, and they're like, well, I've got no clients. I'm like, you just took a picture of chicken and broccoli, mate. Like, here's today's workout. No one fucking cares. Like, they're so out of touch with their demographic. They think taking pictures of themselves with their tops off gets them clients. So now I have a business teaching them, like, some of them, oh, I don't know what to post about. I'm like, oh, can you write down the 10 biggest problems that your clients have? Cool.
So it's coaching PTs.
Yeah. Why don't you make those 10 videos? They're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. And then they start a video, hi, my name's Dan, I'm a PT. I'm like, all right, let's go back to the problem. And the problem could be like, I don't know, struggle to hit depth of the squat. I'm like, so why don't you start your video with, if you're someone that struggles to hit depth when you squat, why don't you try this? And they're like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So like, I feel
like, sorry, just to jump in really quickly here, what you're talking about with fitness can actually be applied to anybody across anything. If you're an accountant and you're there like, oh, do you struggle with this thing? Yeah. It's like, we'll do it this. So while you're talking in fitness terms, I feel like what you're saying could also be applied to so many other things. We're
going to rebrand it a bit to just small businesses, or like, I feel like we're seeing the rise of personal brands where so many people, even in fitness, they're like, Active Health PT. I'm like, your name's Dan. Just tell people your name's Dan. Because again, people like you for who you are. Alex Hormozy isn't acquisition.com or school.com. He's Alex Hormozy. Chris Williamson is Chris Williamson, although he's the Modern Wisdom podcast. You can have a brand, but it goes behind you. You're the front man for it. And also then again, people have all these vanity metrics where they try and grow their followers. And I'll say to someone like, oh, it's great, you've got 180,000 followers. How many email addresses do you have? 40. I'm like, whoa, there's a discrepancy here, bro. Like, so teaching people the fundamentals of, you know, how to run a business using social media. And so many people are still quite blind to the avenues that can open up from it. Like even you guys as an example, you started off just enjoying making content, but then you get a podcast, you have a studio, you have 14 podcasts, you have brand endorsements. Do you still have the Mexican food sponsor, the burritos?
Oh, we have all sorts of sponsors.
Yeah, like that one. When I watched that, I was like, get that money, boys. Yeah. Get that money.
Hey, but you know what? I can appreciate our fans because they see us getting our cheddar too. So in the comments, they're saying, get the bag, king.
We've got to keep the lights on.
We do.
That's amazing. I remember first seeing that with Chunks when people were celebrating him. I think he did a Pringles ad. And I was like, oh, let's see how this has gone down. I was like, bastard. They're loving it.
Yeah.
They're loving it. And people fail to realize that if you create an audience because you provide value to these people by helping them from being bored. So every single social media creator has to help someone and generate goodwill. So you guys turn up, you do your videos, you'll go to like France to eat a fucking burger. Like you had your camper van, your podcast. Mm-hmm. You put out so much that you're accruing so much goodwill with an audience so that when you do put an advert, do you know what? I am going to order that. I am going to do it for the boys. And people are so blind to it in the social media world, where their first social media post is DM me the word coach. I'm like, motherfucker, do content for 6 months without asking for anything.
Yeah.
Then try it and see how it goes. So I'm enjoying that at the moment because, you know, even before we're talking about analytics, we're talking about funnels, buckets. Like, I actually realized I'm more excited about social media growth, sales tactics. Like, I enjoy that more than the coaching side because actually I haven't done a PT session in 7 years.
Yeah.
And actually across those 7 years, I've managed multiple social media accounts. I've seen things go well, go bad. I've run a lot of email marketing campaigns. You caught me in the zone. You scared the fuck out of me in reception. I was like,
this guy would lock the fuck in. I went, hello, mate. And he went, yeah. Oh, and then I think it took a second to register. Who the fuck has just come over here?
In flow state.
Yeah, literally was in flow state. Yeah.
But like, then after a while, I can imagine that you guys, you talk like YouTube, you sit down with people, you're interested. You're like, what was the average view duration? Testing thumbnails, titles. These are all things that have happened in marketing for a while. But now I really enjoyed that. And I think that my coaching business now is just going to be one of several businesses I have.
Yeah.
So I'm now more of a business owner than a PT.
Yeah.
Although like I still do enjoy the industry. I like keeping up to date with, you know, the modern research and stuff like that. But I hate the fact that people glorify it to be so much more complex than it is. Most of my clients did well because I WhatsApp them every morning. Hey mate, how you going? Good, thanks. Done your workout? No? Let me know when it's done. That's really what people need.
Yeah, a lot of people are scared to get into it as well because like the first thought of it, I remember when I was getting into it, I'm like, damn, where do I start? You start looking into like what you was talking about earlier, push, pull, legs, bro split. You're like, damn, which one's better? One of them's got to be better, blah, blah. And you get so deep into it and there's so many different things, variables that can all almost be off-putting. You don't know what to do.
You know when you find a good editor, there's something beautiful about leaving them the SD card and knowing it's dealt with. And it's the same with the good coach should just be that. Where you turn up to the gym, you just don't have to give a shit.
Yeah.
It costs money. Sometimes you're like, oh, how much? But that's it. It should be a relationship where you can just, as a high functioning, high agency person, you can just offload some admin to someone and you come in because enough of us we need to kind of protect the amount of energy we have, especially being creative, because I'm sure you're like me. When you can't be creative, you get in a real funk. And then you're like, fuck, if I could just get someone else to do some of these things for me, it can free me up to do the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just wish that people wouldn't try and overcomplicate it or make it seem, like we said before, about blood glucose monitors and all this kind of misinformation. It's just annoying.
What do you think has been like the biggest scam out of the fitness world in the last
recent time?
Yeah, in the last 12 months. I feel like there's always something new, either a new fad.
Every year.
Every year there's something new.
High ticket coaching.
Oh, okay, go on. What's
Small follower. You're not like an amazing coach. You don't show people your pricing till they get on a call with you. So I see this everywhere where they're like, let's do a discovery call. You're like, it's a fucking sales call, mate, right? Then they do a 35-minute sales tour and then they propose to you the price and they drop you the price on the call where it's a little bit uncomfortable for you to back out. And then they have objection handling. Oh, I need to speak to my husband. Oh, I thought you said that you needed to fit into the dress for the wedding that you have in 9 weeks' time. And I'm just wondering why talking to your husband would affect that.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, mate, no. If somebody said that, I'd be like, yo, put the phone down, bro.
Yeah, I'd be like, get the fuck away
and
from me,
they do this like a pre-questionnaire where it's like, what's your budget? Why do you need to do it? What's the implications of you getting this? What's the implication of not doing it? It's just snaky.
Yeah.
Then they close people. I'm talking literally like sometimes £1,500 for 12 weeks of coaching. And I'm like, no one is worth that. No one. And you just pressured someone on the phone, a bit like door-to-door salesmen, where once they got a foot in the door, when they're in your house, you're like, oh, I best buy what they're selling because they're in my house. And I hated that. And instead, I think that if people were just better at making social media content, they'd have a bigger audience, they'd have more email addresses, and they could sell more to more people and not require thousands of pounds markups on it. And what these fuckers do is they go through a period of like 2 weeks of closing as many of these as they can. And then they're like, oh, if you want to learn how to make 20K a month, you're like, bro, you just closed all these people in one window. Like, that's your income for the next 3-4 months, and you're pretending like you get it every month.